My daughter, I have not eaten in 3 days. Please help me. A coin, a piece of cloth, anything. Remove yourself from my path. Beggars do not speak to daughters of chiefs. Child, you have just slapped the wrong woman. It was nothing.
They say in the village of Iroko, the elders never warned you twice. They say the forest listens, the river remembers, and the spirits, they never forget. This is the story of a princess who learned that lesson too late. My fellow lover of tales by Nonso, if you are enjoying this amazing story, please do well to subscribe to this channel because that's what keeps us going, and also tell us where you are watching from. Now, sit back, grab your popcorn and a cold mineral. Let me take you through from where it all started. Deep in the heart of the land of Odu, where the Iroko trees grew so tall they scraped the belly of the sky, there sat a village called Iroko. It was a village of red earth and wide rivers, of market drums and moonlit festivals, of ancestors whose voices still murmured in the evening wind. The chief of Iroko had one daughter, and her name was Adaize. Adaize was beautiful, the way lightning is beautiful, bright, fierce, and dangerous if you stood too close. She had been raised on praise, fed on compliments like a fire fed on dry wood, and so she burned with pride the way only the truly spoilt can burn. She walked through the village market and sellers bowed their heads. She wore the finest ankara, the heaviest beads, the loudest laughter. And yet, behind closed doors, the elders whispered to one another, "That girl does not know what she does not know." But no one dared say it to her face. She was the chief's daughter. Who would dare? On the morning of the Great Harvest Festival, the most sacred day in Iroko's calendar, Adaize decided she wanted berries from the deep forest. Not the berries sold at market. No, she wanted the rare black-tongued fruit that only grew beyond the third stream, past the shrine of Mama Oya. Her maidmanin warned her, "My princess, the elders say no one enters the forest on festival morning. The veil between our world and the spirit world is thin." Adaize laughed, a sharp, bright sound like breaking glass. "You people and your superstitions. I am the chief's daughter. The spirits know better than to trouble me." And she walked into the forest alone. The forest was quiet, too quiet. No bird song, no crickets. Even the wind had held its breath. The trees thickened around her, their roots coiling across the path like sleeping serpents. The light changed from gold to green to gray. Adaize walked faster, telling herself she was not afraid. Then she saw her. At the side of the path, hunched against the roots of an ancient Iroko, sat an old woman. She was dressed in rags, her white hair matted with leaves, her bare feet cracked and bleeding. In her trembling hands, she held a small clay bowl, empty. Her eyes were milky white, and yet they seemed to see everything. "Daughter," the old woman rasped, her voice like dry bark crumbling. "I have not eaten in 3 days. Please, a coin, a piece of cloth, anything." Adaize looked at the old woman the way one looks at something unpleasant found under a stone. She did not pause, she did not think. She raised her soft, ringed hand and slapped the old woman across the face. The sound cracked through the forest like a thunderclap. The clay bowl shattered on the ground. "Remove yourself from my path," Adaize said coldly. "Beggars do not speak to daughters of chiefs." The old woman did not cry, she did not flinch. She simply turned her milky eyes upward, slowly, until they locked onto Adaize's face.
And then she smiled. It was the most terrible smile Adaeze had ever seen. It stretched too wide. It held too much knowledge. "Child," the old woman said softly, and her voice had changed. It was deeper now, layered, as if 100 voices spoke at once beneath her own. "You have just slapped the wrong woman." Adaeze laughed again, nervous this time, and walked away quickly without looking back. She told herself it was nothing. She was wrong. By the time Adaeze returned to the palace, the right side of her face had begun to itch. By nightfall, it had swollen. By midnight, she could not open her right eye. The palace healer was summoned. He examined her face in silence for a long time, then stepped back, his expression unreadable. "What causes it?" her father demanded. "I do not know," the healer said quietly. "I have never seen this before." The next morning, stranger things came. Adaeze woke to find her voice was gone. Not hoarse, not weak, simply gone. She opened her mouth and nothing came out. Not a whisper, not a breath. Silence. She screamed without sound at her reflection. In the reflection, the swelling on her face had taken a shape, the shape of a handprint. The village elders were called. They gathered in the palace courtyard, their white hair and dark robes rustling like leaves in a storm. They looked at the princess and they murmured among themselves. And then the eldest, a woman named Mama Chibuzo, who was said to be older than the village itself, she spoke. Who did this child offend in the forest? Adaeze could not speak to answer.
It was one of the handmaidens who confessed what she had witnessed from a distance. The beggar woman on the forest path. The slap, the shattered bowl. The color drained from Mama Chibuzo's face. Which tree was she sitting beneath? The elder asked, her voice barely a whisper. The great Iroko, the handmaiden said, the oldest one, the one at the center of the path, near the shrine of Mama Oya. Mama Chibuzo closed her eyes. When she opened them, they glistened. That was not a beggar, she said. The courtyard went still as a held breath. That Iroko tree is the resting place of Oya herself, spirit of transformation, of storms, of fate. She appears to the proud and the cruel on festival morning. She comes in rags to test the hearts of those who carry power. She has done this since before your grandfather's grandfather drew breath. The chief rose to his feet. Then what has been placed upon my daughter? The seal of muting. She who silences another shall be silenced. She who strikes the unseen shall wear the mark of the strike. It will not lift until the princess returns to the forest, kneels at the root of the Iroko, and speaks her apology into the earth, if she ever speaks again. She paused. But there is one more thing. She looked directly at Adaeze. You have 7 days. After 7 days, the silence becomes permanent, and no elder, no healer, no prayer will undo what Oya has sealed. 4 days passed before Adaeze could bring herself to go back. Not because of fear, though she was terrified, but because of pride. That familiar burning pride fighting inside her chest even now, telling her she should not have to beg. She was the chief's daughter. She should not have to kneel for anyone. But on the 5th day, she woke before dawn, slipped out of the palace alone, and walked into the forest. The forest was different now. The trees seemed to lean toward her as she passed, curious, watchful. The river to her left whispered in a language that was almost words. The air smelled of rain and old iron, and something secret. At the center of the path stood the great Iroko. There was no old woman. There was only the tree, ancient and immovable, its roots like the arms of something buried beneath the earth, its canopy so vast it made the sky disappear. Adaeze stood before it for a long time. Then slowly, for the first time in her life, she knelt. She pressed her forehead to the root, and though she had no voice,
she spoke with everything else, with the tears that finally fell, with the trembling of her hands, with the shallow, desperate breaths of a young woman who had only just understood what she was. The forest sighed. The swelling on her face faded like mist under sunrise, and when she opened her mouth, "I am sorry," she whispered. Her voice had returned, but it was quieter than before, softer, as if something had been permanently gentled inside it. They say Adeze came back from that forest a different woman, not broken, not destroyed, but changed, the way gold is changed by fire, refined. She ruled Iroko for 40 years after her father, and in all that time, she never once raised her hand in cruelty. She fed every beggar who came to the palace gate. She bowed her head to elders. She taught her children that power is not measured by how loudly you speak, but by how carefully you listen. And every harvest festival morning, they say, she walked alone to the great Iroko tree and left a filled clay bowl at its roots, just in case. Because in the land of Odu, they know what many kingdoms have forgotten. The most dangerous person in any forest is not the one with the sword. It is the one in rags whose eyes see everything.